Hey everybody, Damian Questiny here. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I want to give some examples of some of the great questions that I've been receiving, and I'm going to call a couple people out who are on my channel who bring up great questions. So if anybody ever has a problem with me bringing up your name or anything like that, you just let me know and I'll definitely keep things private. But Stacy Lee was asking about the influences of Saturn. Stacy has noticed that I place Saturn in several of my flowers and plates that are posted because it is a very specific influence. And I'm trying to highlight that on the flowers to bring in that energy and that force behind it, that influence. So when I was explaining that Saturn is not necessarily a negative influence, but energetically, it is the power of the body and of forms themselves. It is the box in which you put things into. So this gives it so much strength in its ability, not force. Saturn doesn't have force behind it. What it does have is this strength, this power. And that power comes from work, reward, effort, also punishment. There is no mercy when it comes to work. It is about blood, sweat, and tears. So the negative side of Saturn, if you want to look at it, if there was one, you could say that it would be about indulgence and ignorance. Ignorance is probably one of the biggest pet peeves of the sickle, the great harvester of souls of Saturn, right? Would be ignorance. Also excessiveness. So Saturn does provide harsh punishment for violations in the matrix, right? And those violations accumulate like currency and wealth and also health in your life. And that accumulates as good or bad karma, if you want to look at it with a tinfoil hat, right? Also, what's really interesting about Saturn is a record keeper. And it holds the keys to our ancestors and the knowledge of the technology of our ancestors. Another great question came in from Clint Steele. And his channel is dedicated to uncovering the truth behind ancient cataclysms. And he has this philosophy that Birkeland currents connected us to the cosmos. And I share similar narratives. And I think narratives are really important to discuss at this point. To have a narrative is to paint a picture and give an idea. And to give an idea, that is not necessarily evidentiary, but it's exploratory. And so you allow room for others to interject their philosophy and their understanding of things, to fill in the blanks, to give you more clarity and more detail on subjects. And I admire this comment, and I appreciate this comment, because Birkeland currents are a critical component to the things that we discuss here on my channel too. And these are extremely important. I did a video earlier about Earth that I'll be posting, and Birkeland currents are that which connects us between the Earth and the air. We are technically a Birkeland current. So I wanted to share with you, the question initially from this person came about the sun. And I just want to give a narrative, just an idea for you guys to just think about and noodle on your own, to consider. It doesn't have to be real. It just has to be opening. And it's like a key to unlock a door to allow information to come in if you want it to. And what I was arguing is that the sun actually has very specific anomalies and curiosities associated to it. So to me, the sun is not a nuclear furnace, but it's more in line as a converter. And it is electric in nature. And it doesn't burn anything, but it transfers energy from one realm to another. And this is based on the cycles. But the sun does provide food, heat, it excites and it reveals. So it is truth driven. And the sun's output from my narrative changes colors based on the house or astrological age it finds itself in. For example, the age that we just came through was the age of Pisces. And in that age, which was the age that I was born in, when I was a kid, the sun was yellow. And before then, the sun was orange. And then the cycle before that one, the sun was reddish. And you would read stories about ancient Greece and how they had wine-colored seas, right? Because with the sun's color comes the world's color. And we respond to the sun because it's a converter, so we are converters. That's our relationship to it, right? We are run by the same rules and regulations as everything else. We are together as one in that sense. And today, in the age of Aquarius, the young people may not have any idea, but the sun is white. Its intensity has increased, where it burns your skin now. When I was a kid, it was soft, like a pillow. I know that may sound funny to some, but it was soft when the sun touched your skin. But I was also lived in California and amazing weather. So, your environment does play a role in that as well. But you can judge and determine the flavor and aspects for yourself. Another question that came in was they were asking about any other anomalies or curiosities about the sun. All great questions. And I just wanted to point out, have you ever considered the idea that we may arrive and leave this realm through the sun? Have you thought about how the sun is vital to our blood? And what is contrasted by that is, instead of the electric, the magnetic in our intention, and that may be through the moon and be considered that. Since the sun is electric and the moon is magnetic. So I thought I just wanted to share those ideas with you and give you the flavor of a narrative. The last narrative I wanted to share comes about how the earth has a special relationship to the heavens, as above, so below. And our ancients, our past, we knew of this relationship. And one time that we tried to harness the influences of the luminaries. And our ancestors may have built sophisticated systems of pyramids and powered structures based on math principles called Fibonacci and pi. And they used this technology to travel and communicate long distances. They used the golden ratio math by throwing the energy exponentially outward, right? Because Fibonacci is, 1 + 1 is 2, 2, 1 is 3, 3, 2, 5, right? It exponentially changes, it multiplies. So you can throw communications and energy at long distances with this golden ratio math. And each of these pyramids are connected on the nodes of each ley line using this math. And in time, our tech became advanced enough where we were building these platforms and systems to harness and capture the specific frequencies of energy of each of the luminaries. Because we mastered the earth in travel and communication on the earth side using the Fibonacci, right? because you can throw out the energy long distances. As long as you had a node and a ley line on each one of these meeting points, you could effectively transfer energy to those. Quantum entanglement. But on a earth stone level, instead of an air mind level like we have when we are using today. So our ancestors in time built this technology, became advanced, and they built platforms and systems to harness and capture the specific frequency energies of each luminary, because each luminary has a very specific vibrational tone to it. There's 88 constellations, like 88 keys on a piano. No coincidence, right? There are no coincidences. I've never seen one, but I've heard of them, right? But I've actually never seen one. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Is this a possibility? Is this how we receive great power and spiritual currency, by tuning in to these luminaries? Of course, we corrupted this technology over time. That's part of the narrative too, right? Something that we can discuss, why we have these scars built in. But this technology was based off toroid, Fibonacci, crystals, and lasers. What do you think? Thanks so much for listening. Cheers.